Hello, fellow Minecrafters. Gearsaw Studios here. Today I'm going to show you how to build an Amethyst Geode house. Since who wouldn't want a musical house underground with access to all the caves? However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, onto the tutorial. Looking at this pretty basic but rather large geode, it's pretty obvious what we're going to be building with. We're going to be building with the smooth basalt, calcite, amethyst clusters, and I'm also going to throw in some polished deep slate in order to make it a little more refined looking and less jagged. Also, make sure that your geode is of sufficient size. So this geode is pretty good, but if we're to go to another geode, such as this candidate, it's also pretty good. But as you look around, some geodes are just downright not good, such as this one, which is way too small. So find the one that is of good size. To light this up initially, just place down some lanterns, because just the amethyst clusters alone is not going to cut it. So you're going to need some initial lighting in order to actually see what you're building and make sure it looks good. So we got a pretty basic thing going on. Now, I recommend going to the middle of the geode. So find out where the middle is. It's pretty easy on large geodes, even though it can be a little difficult at other geodes. And this is about where the middle is. So make a semicircle here, like this. Now we got an area to base the center of our build on. Since most of the build's pretty much done just by the natural generation, we should start making some areas to live in. And also, just a note, you might have to break some budding amethyst. So try not to use this specific geode for your main source of amethyst if you're planning to do anything with it. So I recommend making one wall that's some sort of storage system, preferably with barrels, since pretty much they're the objectively better version of storage. So just like this, we got a pretty good storage. Now, you might be looking at this small piece of storage and wondering to yourself, is this enough? And if you're planning to live here for a while, probably not. So, unsatisfying footage ahead, you're going to have to dig into the wall, and you might have to break some of this beautiful budding amethyst while you're at it. And be careful not to break any you don't mean to, since they're not replaceable. Then, make the new wall out of barrels in order to improve your amount of storage, because it's still part of the geode, and now it's just a little different, and you got more storage while you're at it. So you can quintuple your storage with this easy trick. Now that we got a storage system, you are kind of situated into here, but there's no essentials. So what I recommend is start making some semblance of a floor. Calcite is an amazing block for this purpose and really just in general. It's a very good block for building. So move out your lighting and place it back down until we find another solution. And just make this ring filled in with calcite. With the floor in, I recommend going down below the floor so that way you can actually add another layer into this. Although you are destroying a lot of budding amethyst doing this, it still gives you a lot more room to fit in whatever you need to do inside this geode. Now, with some rather unsatisfying budding amethyst breaks down here, we have a substantial area to work with. So, what I recommend doing is making a wall design. Calcite and smooth basalt work well together, and amethyst being the floor is a little odd, but it's nice because it makes all the jingly sounds. So I recommend doing that. So make your wall design and make the floor amethyst. Now, down here we have a pretty sick area to work with. But the amethyst floor, although making all these nice jingly noises when walking on it, does not look the best. So I recommend installing some carpets, preferably geode themed. So magenta or purple surrounded by gray is a good option. And make sure that it does not cover up the middle, because the middle can actually be turned into a spiral staircase to all of your desired strip mines. Now that most of this is done and we have a carpeted area down here, it's up to you if you want to remove these little lines here to make the floor more seamless. This is a personal preference and it doesn't make the build better or worse. So if you like it, do it. If you don't do it. Then you can also start preparing the entrance to the geode if you chose an open geode. Now, for the entrance of the geode, there is an issue. It doesn't lead anywhere. So, this is an optional part of the tutorial if you want to make an amethyst house. So, you have two options. Just completely seal this and make it look like it was always geode minus the budding amethyst, or you could make it into a window. And I'm going to go with the latter, because come on, having a window in a geode is probably one of the coolest things you can do with it. So, copy what you did on the bottom here, and start making it a little area that's lined with smooth basalt. Now, we have this cool area that is ready for a window, or if you don't want to do that, just more amethyst. So, I recommend placing down some glass or other transparent block like chains, or possibly even tinted glass. You're going to be getting a lot of that from the geode walls. And now we have something here that looks pretty remarkable because you can see outside, which is rather bland right now. So a quick way to fix that is go on the other side of the wall and summon an end crystal or just dig out an area. End crystals are a very good way to clear out areas because they will just stack repeatedly until you reach your desired size of explosion. So keep breaking the area until you have a decent sized area that can be seen. With the explosions cleaned up, we are now left with a pretty decent sized area, which I think should be filled with lava, since you can't exactly see it too well, but it's very bright through the tinted glass, which will create a nice effect where everything is very dark behind here except the lava, which will amplify its brightness and just kind of look cool in general. Another thing that I recommend adding is make it some sort of cave biome. If you're watching this later on, deep dark, or you could make it dripstone or lush cave, because pointed dripstone is a very weird block that I really enjoy playing around with. Because the thing is, it has the pointed dripstone that can connect up and down. So I recommend converting this into a mini cave biome. Now, with the dripstone and dripstone points added, which also connect at various points, and a little island in the middle, just connects it all together, making a very nice area to look upon while wandering your house that happens to be made out of amethyst. So, if you don't even have a wall that can be converted, just convert it anyways. Just start breaking down the wall into budding amethyst and make this. It's such a great idea that I wouldn't want anyone to miss out upon. Most of this video has been focused on making this geode ready to build and just cool looking in general. But now it's time to move back onto the functionality. Now that we have the storage, we need some smelting. So dedicate an area to the geode just for smelting, because since this is a cave base, I assume that you're going to be doing quite the amount of smelting. So just dig out an area, and it doesn't have to be perfect because remember, you have this cool window right here, but it touching isn't too bad. So do this and place down your little furnace array, just like this. Of course, you can change the order to your personal favorite. I like smokers on the bottom, and the blast furnaces in the middle. Now, we're ready to do some smelting. For the other side of the geode, you just start making a bedroom. Repeat the same basic design of the other two extensions on the Amethyst Geode. Dig out a little, and just feel internal pain as you break the budding amethyst. Then you can make the floor, which I like calcite. Do your wall design, whatever that may be, which can be the same as down here, or it could be a little different. And then place down your bed. So, filling in this wall real quick, and also try to leave as much budding amethyst as you can in amethyst wall designs, since it's very rare and it produces some light. Then maybe add a lantern, and you can now have an area to sleep in. Don't forget about the obligatory nightstand with your favorite flower. So, since this is Caves and Cliffs themed, some azalea. Since we have the bedroom here, the storage here, the smelting here, the coolness here, it's time to do the final things. Add your obligatory essentials, such as your cartography table, your fletching table, if it has a usage yet, your loom, your smithing table, stone cutter, and anything else you can think of that might need a little area. Along with that, this area is pretty easy to lose track of since it's just a random geode somewhere. So, possibly a lodestone in the floor to attach your compass to. For our final details of this build, I recommend adding this spiral staircase, so that way if you go down, you can access deeper levels of ores such as diamonds, or you could go up so that way you can access the surface. However, I'm not going to actually connect this to the surface, because if you see what biome this is in, it's going to take quite a while to get to the surface, since it is so deep down under this about 173 height area. But with the obligatory spiral staircase that can access different heights, it's time to add the shards, since this build should definitely have some sort of growth on it. Remember that budding amethyst is both a friend and enemy while doing this, since it grows some naturally, but they're always going to be at the same stage. So connect some pieces of amethyst to blocks, and it will light up the build a little. Don't forget to use your varying sizes if you have a silk touch pickaxe and can do that. And you don't have to completely restrict it to amethyst. Place it everywhere, just like this. So connect it wherever you want, and you can connect it to the calcite too. Now, with a substantial amount of lighting, with the amethyst shards, we can remove a couple lanterns, which makes the build a little bit moodier. But since this is 1.18 and it will be at the time of uploading in a couple weeks, the lighting is not as big of an issue due to mobs only spawning at light level 0. So, looking around, we got a lot of the essentials and quite a few pieces of amethyst, which I would say is a complete build.